So I want to invite Pastor Normand Chalabois to join me on the stage, if he would. And why don't you put your hands together and welcome Pastor Normand. Pastor Normand's been in ministry now for 14 years. These are nice chairs. Okay, get used to this.
Better than this morning.
He's been ministering for 14 years, but he has quite a story, and I want you to hear a bit of his story and get to know him. And then I think you'll clearly understand why I believe we as a church, launching a French church in the city to reach people far from God, I believe that God has sent him our way with that express purpose in mind. So Pastor Normand, tell us a little bit of your story. Start right back in your childhood. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what the conditions were like.
Merci. Bon matin, bonjour, good morning. Just before I go to my testimony, I just want to say a huge thanks to all of you. You're so, you just welcome me and my family so well. We feel like it's our family. You know, we were in Ville-la-Salle for 25 years at the same church. So to remove to another church, it's something special, and we feel like just welcome, and this is your home, Norm, and just be happy with us, and we are so, you know, it's cool to have you, so thank you very much, everyone, and it's such a joy for me and Dominic and the kids to be a part of this re.Imagine. This is a nice vision. Do you think it's a nice vision? Yeah? Thank you very much. You know, I grew up in a little city called Ville-Saint-Pierre. Do you know where is Ville-Saint-Pierre? It's a little town and probably less than 5,000 people in there. So today is a part of Lachine with all the fusion with the city. But when I was a little kid, I grew up in that city, and my dad was the Zamboni guy at the arena, you know, the janitor, the cleaner of the hockey rooms and everything. And he was also a hockey player in the city, and he was also a guy who played lacrosse, you know. Right. So I grew up in a city who everybody knows our family pretty well, because my dad and also I have a lot of my family, they were in politics in the city. Well, politics is not good now, but they were, you know. So, so I grew up in that kind of city. Grew up in a broken family. I mean, my mom was so sweet, a very good mom. But my dad was
a drug addict.
Drug addict, sorry. Was a drug addict, and he was not really present like a good dad, you know. And so I live a part of my all the, you know, the 0 to 17 with a huge lack of love from my dad, a huge lack of self-esteem. You know, when your dad is not there to encourage you, to push you in your life and be there, it's tough. And I was the oldest one in the family. I have a young brother, 5 years younger than me, and I was taking care of him because he was not there. So I was very frustrated about my dad, you know, and why he just led us like this. And I heard a lot of story in the city of Ville-Saint-Pierre because he was going on different women all the time. So, you know, it was really tough when you have people who just point to you when you walk in your home city. And they not mock you, but they know your dad is not a good man. And so I grew up in that kind of family. So what happened in me, it's developing in me a lot of frustration, rebellion, violence, lots of violence, just because I have a lack of love. And, you know.
So when you were 12, something significant happened. You kind of confronted your dad.
Yeah.
You were a hockey player. You actually played for Team Canada for a while as goalie and wanted to be a professional hockey player. Yeah. That wasn't to be. No. Lots of frustration was coming, but you confronted your dad when you were 12. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, in the lobby of my house, you know, just in the entrance, I'm taller than my dad. My dad is 5'9". I was like probably almost 6 at that time. Hockey player, you know, strong enough to grab my dad by the neck one day and said to my dad all the why. Why are you doing that to our family? Why are you not present on my hockey game? Just for that. Yeah. Why you don't take care and bring money? You spend all your money all the money of family, you know, and your drugs and your party and your stuff. Why? I was very frustrated about that. Why are you using drugs and you destroy our family and everything? So, and I remember a couple words he said to me that morning, but one word touched me. He said, Norm, you don't understand. Drugs, when you take drugs, you became addicted and you don't understand how to, you don't understand the way I feel, you know. My dad told me that. So he said, I have so much problem with the drugs and I can't quit drugs and everything. So that's why I do, you know, we have a lot of problem. So I remember that little word, you don't understand, because you're not taking drugs. So I went out to the house that day, go to see one of my friends, and to try to understand my dad, I just started to use drug. So that morning at the age of 12, you know, in the park in Saint-Pierre, just started my first marijuana and, you know. So, and, you know, I'm a very artistic person. Even if I was a kid, I love painting, I love drawing. Yeah. I love music a lot. So guys, this morning, yeah, it's good. And I really love music and you know, everything artistic. So when I started to use that drug, for me it was like a perfect fit. Drugs and, you know, dreaming and all that stuff. For me it was like, oh, it's cool, you know. But also I was taking drug to
dull the pain in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have in me.
Yeah.
And more I grow, more pain I have, so more drug I took. And, you know, and all my rebellion, my frustration go higher and higher. You know, you took drugs, you became a little bit, you know, different. And it was a tough, I started like this, drugs, just because my daddy he said to me this. And but so after that, and same time, I have a problem in my school, high school where I go. So they kicked me out of the high school because, well, just a little fight with my teacher.
Yeah.
Something, you know, usual.
Which you should never do.
No, it's not true. It was not a fight. It was just like something.
We'll keep going.
Yeah. And after that, I went to another school in Ville-la-Salle, and this school was really tough compared to Lachine High School. So when I go there, and when you are new, you know, youth, you come to a new school, you want to be tough. And for me, it was really important in my life, and I did a promise to myself, no one else is going to hurt me like my dad did. I'm going to be the boss. And so when I go to that school, I look around me, and what is the way to be the most popular guy, but the more tough guy in the school. So I looked at the drug dealer. They have probably 3 or 4 drug dealers in that school. And I decided to be a drug dealer and kick all those guys out and take the control of the school. Why not? It's only a 2,000 people school, you know. I'm coming. Norm is coming. You know? So I went to that school and I started to sell drugs. And like I said, I just kick out the guy and start to build like a little gang around me, and we started to sell drugs and different arcade in the city, and we started to sell drugs, lots of drugs on the southwest part of the Montreal area. And my consommation you just go up day after day, and hockey went out for a couple, went out after an injury and stuff like that. And so I go deeper and deeper in my drug stuff, and also I connect with a criminal group, a biker group. You know probably the group, but I'm not going to promote it this morning. But so I just connect with them to buy my drug directly to the source and not to another, you know, guy.
In-between guy.
In between guys. Yeah. And when I connect to the guys, they love me. They just take care of me. So I become like a prospect. I was not in the group, but I became like a prospect. And just started to sell drugs more, have better price, more influence, bigger group, bigger gang around me. And my consommation just go up. So this picture is probably 14. Yeah, something like that. You know, my hair and my face. Whoa. 16 probably, so yeah. So. So I just grew up with that group. And, you know, I think when you're born a leader, you are a leader, so on the good way or the bad way. And I think I was a leadership. I have some leadership a little bit. And, you know, I grew up very fast, and I make a lot of money, make money to that group too. And to prove myself more, I want to take more responsibility in that group. So I started to do some sell some guns and weapons and do some traffic of weapons. You know, bring weapons from outside of Canada and Quebec and just spend all those. It was a short time, and after that, for me, it was not enough because my violence go up, and my consommation de drogue goes so high. I was taking probably in between $1,000 of drugs a day to $2,000 a day. You know,
for your personal habit?
Personal, yeah, for me. And all the drugs I was taking is not the smooth one, it's not the hard one. The one who bring you more aggressive, you know. So it was like this, and my violence, and you know, when you have a lack of love from your dad and you don't feel everybody love you because your dad doesn't love you, you feel like everybody doesn't love you. And I want to take the control. My dream was to take control of Montreal about selling drugs. So I was young, but I have some dreams.
Ambitious.
A future. Yeah. And just to take the control of every little dealer and say to them, don't sell drugs to this man, my dad. You know, it's weird, eh? It's a bit, it's in my brain, it's dans ma tête, là, mais. And I was so hurt inside, and so I struggle with suicide tendency because I didn't love myself. I didn't love what my dad did, so I did, you know, pire que lui. He said that were worse than him. So I didn't love myself. I tried to suicide myself like 3 times, and you know, I lived very struggled. Tried to stop drugs many times, probably 100 times. I don't know, and I go to at the end of my journey in that world, if you want, my goal was to become a hitman.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do it, you know.
I didn't do it. Let's be clear, he didn't do it.
Yeah, but just to reveal my heart, it was so broken, so.
So you can see right from an early age. Remember too, Pastor Normand had never heard about Christ and the gospel in that context at all. So God finds you though.
Yeah.
So how does God get to you when you're so far removed? You're in a lifestyle that is so trapping. You know, you're in bondage, and you're blind to the truth. How did God find you?
Well, my wife, Dominique, she been born in Ville-Saint-Pierre too, you know. She lived in Ville-Saint-Pierre, the same thing than me. So we meet each other at the elementary school, grade 2 or 3. And we...
You dated?
We dated at grade 3. Seriously.
If you're in grade 3 here, not a good idea.
And at the end of grade 3, I just let Dominic go because, you know.
It wasn't going to work out, eh?
No, it doesn't work. And at grade 4, we come back together. Grade 5, you know, it was like this. Until I go to high school. When I go to high school, she was still in 6th grade. So I just say, well, you're too young now. I'm going on the highest level. She was there this morning. She was funny. But this is true anyway. So, but after a couple years, we split at the age of 12. You know, I went to live. I still live in Ville-Saint-Pierre, but because I was going on the high school in La Salle, we just disconnect a bit. And for a couple years, we disconnect. During that time, Dominique gave her life to Jesus. She discovered Jesus at that time. And many years after, for me, I think I was the age of 16 or 17, I think. Yeah, 17. She heard by my brother, my youngest brother, that I was alone. I was not anymore with my girlfriend. And Dominique heard about it and tried to connect with me. So she came in Montreal where I was living in Hochelaga Maisonneuve and started to talk with me. And, hey, Norm, how are you? And, you know, girls. You are. Anyway, and she gave me a little cassette Yeah, I'm old, yeah. A little cassette. And on that cassette, they have some testimony from the guy from Défi Jeunesse.
Teen Challenge.
Teen Challenge. So she gave me that cassette. And for me, I said, okay, thank you for the cassette. I put the cassette in my whatever. And I didn't want to know about the cassette. The only thing I want to know is about Dominique, you know. But I listened to the cassette when she went out of the house and my house and my apartment that time. And I started to listen those guys who give their testimony about, you know, they live the same life of me and they give this testimony. So it was kind of weird stuff, but it was okay. And you know, I grew up with Dominique at a young age, so I know her family pretty well. And her dad is a gambler and alcoholic. And he was almost the same kind of man than my dad. And I hate my dad and I hate this guy too. Because I remember Dominique suffering about the relationship she's got with dad. And when I just connect again another time because we started to be together a bit, you know. And she was Christian and she was not at that church at that time. She left the church for 2 or 3 years to meet me, but she left the church. And could you imagine the chaos in that church? A young girl who loved Jesus go out of the church, meet a drug dealer, start to have some relationship with the drug dealer. She came to live at my home. It was like a commotion at the church. And I heard that a couple of years after, and they prayed for me. For 2 years, maybe 50% pray for me and Dominique. Anyway, it's another story. So I know my beaux-parents a lot. And the dad of Dominique, she was, like I said. And he was completely changed, different man. So when I started to talk with him, he said, yeah, God delivered me of gambling, alcohol. He was another man, really cool. Still have the same character a little bit, but, you know, different. And this is what, I think it was the first time I just saw something not weird, man. Wow, this is good for him, and this is good for Dominique. So it started to touch me. And at the same time, my belle-maman.
Your mother-in-law?
Mother-in-law.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Mother-in-law, she invited me to go to the church on Sunday morning. And you know, when your mother-in-law invites you, guys, you have no choice to say yes. If you want to keep a good relationship with your wife and anyway. So, and I just decided to go to the church. And I remember Dominique told me, this is Dominique on the picture. Yeah, nice hair, right? It's a full can of spray net every morning. Seriously. Anyway, and she invited me to go to the church, and Dominique told me the church, it's cool. Yeah, for me, the church is a Catholic church. It's boring, you know. And cool, we have some good music at church, yeah. Or, you know, it's like, for me, it was not cool. Church, it's cool. Kids run everywhere, you know, and we have fun at church. I mean, I just said school before, right? At church. And so they invite me to go to the church, and in Ville-la-Salle, the church, l'Assemblée du Plein Évangile, it's a church in a mall, and
in the basement
of the mall. So they said to me, okay, this is the church. Where? In the basement. Oh, okay. So you feel weird a bit, you know, it's like what's that? So I remember to go down the stair, and it's not like just 3 steps, it's like you go down, and I feel like it's like a cavern, you know, so it's weird. And I remember the first usher I meet, he gave my hand, he said, hey, Norm. He said, no, he said, hi, are you Norm? I said, yeah. So who's that guy?
How does he know you?
Yeah, how does he know me? And, you know, I'm selling drugs, and I know cops sometimes are around, so who's that guy, you know? I am in the church, and you know my name. And it was weird, really weird. So I went inside the church, and that time period in 1989, everybody had all the men have a suit,
right.
3 pieces, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
For me, I called that at that time les pingouins. I know it's not that, but for me it was like this. And for the ladies, they have no pants, you know. It's like the la robe until here, you know, really conservateur. And I came to that church, and for me, it was my long hair like this. my bicycle boots, my jeans, my chain, and my leather jacket with my tag, and Harley and all that stuff, and really stoned that morning, like every morning, all day,
Yeah.
And so I came to that church. I said, "Wow, that's weird." It's like, whoa. So everybody, they hands like this, they sing, and some of them, they speak in tongues. You just come, what the heck is that? You just feel weird. And so we go to my stepfather, mes beaux-parents. They were sitting on the second row all the time at the church, So we went there, go in the front. And he was just beside the stage, and the band was on that side of the stage. So it was cool for me because I love music. So I just forgot everybody and connect with the band. So band, you have an impact on people. You don't know that, but you have an impact. And so I just connect with the band, and they have so many instruments, and it was cool. And I remember Pastor Mario Masca was preaching. Mario Masca is an evangelist, and he was preaching that morning. And if you don't know Mario, he's got une habitude, habit, yeah. When he's preaching, he's pointing, like this, and he's preaching. And I remember I was sit like on this side, he was pointing this side, and I feel like his finger go to me. Like this. Seriously, I say, who's that guy? And at the end of the message, I didn't understand a word. Seriously, I didn't understand. Well, it makes sense sometimes, but it's weird, You don't know Jesus, you don't know God, you don't know.
You've never heard the message before.
No, I never heard the message. I heard what my, Dominic told me, a little cassette, peu, but not too much, And at the end, he just make a call, and he asked if somebody wants to accept Jesus, and I was sit down and said, no. Seriously, I'm not gonna. He asked to
raise your hand,
raise your hand, and I said, no way, no, I'm not gonna do it, And like a good pastor, he repeated and repeated and repeated. So when your pastor is repeating a call, just be patient, because we have probably a norm somewhere in the church waiting for that call. But that's true. That's true. And he just repeated, and finally, I don't know why, I just raised up my hand. Seriously, I didn't know why. After you think about it, why? But it's a God thing. Anyway, just lift my hand and just put down. I said, I saw your hand. and after that, just he said, okay, for everybody who rise up hands, just stand up, please. So for me, he said, everybody. So it was more than one, more than me. So I just go up like this. It was the second row, remember that? So I was just looking like this. Behind me, nobody this side. Nobody this side. He's a liar, man. He's not cool, So
everybody was somebody, right?
So I was like that, and he did another call. He said, well, for everybody stand up. I said, no, you are a liar. I'm alone, man. You're just and he said, I'm going to ask you to come in the front. So in my interior, inside of me, I said, no way. Not that time. He's not going to get me. It's like, and I could just look on my right side, and you have Dominic, mother, and father. Go. I felt like that. I know they didn't do it. They were praying probably, but I just felt like, no. Okay. So I go in the front, and seriously, I went to the front, and he did the prayer with me, and I accept Jesus. And I remember this morning, at the end of the prayer, I just felt, weird a bit, and how you said, dégelé? Unfroze of my drug in the morning. On dit pas ça en anglais. We don't say that in English. Dégelé, we could say that in French, but in defrosted. Yeah, something. Anyway, so, and and this is the way I give my life to Jesus. Well, probably after that, I give my life 50 times after. Because yeah, seriously, I was feel so guilty about many things in my life. But during 1 month, I was just a Jesus freak for real, just in fire for God. And I went to the church every message, every reunion, all meetings, you know, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday. We have a course for the young, the starter, you know, for the young Christian. One day, the mardi, I think the Tuesday. And Friday with the youth and the prayer meeting and the women's ministry things and all that stuff. Everything passed, you know, I was just want to go to the church. But during that 1 month, I still continue to use drugs. Not at the church. I have a respect for God, seriously. But when I came back home, I just party a bit, you know, and read my Bible and just woo-hoo. So it was like this.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know nothing else than, you know. So I remember one night I was sit down in my living room with my Bible, with my beer probably. I don't remember the details, but I remember one thing. God spoke to my heart and said, Norm, you know I love you. I said, oh, yes, I know. I was so, wow, God loved me. You know, I discovered the love of a father, a real love.
Wow.
Who replaced the love of my dad, didn't give it to me, you know.
Yeah.
And that time, just God said, you know, I love you, Norm, but I said, oh, yeah, you have to make a choice. Okay, God, what choice? You need to choose between me and your drugs. Come on. That's not fair, Lord. You can't ask me this. You know, I'm using drugs for maybe 7 years now and a lot of drugs. And, you know, it's like something who just helped me to live, you know. Anyway, and I said to God, I said, Lord, look, if you don't help me, I'm going to choose the drug. I love you, Lord. I want to follow you. But if you don't help me, nothing's going to change. I try so many times to stop and nothing's happened, you know. So I just said to God, Lord, I make you a promise tonight. I'm not going to using drug tonight. But you need to help me or I'm going to choose the other way. So I just finished my prayer, opened the TV, looked at the TV. Is it 7 o'clock at night? I'm that kind of guy who sleep over 1 o'clock every night, even today. And I wake up, you know, walk in the house. I say, well, I'm not going to tough, you know. I'm not going to resist. So to respect my promise to God, I went to the bed, sleep. That's it. The day after, I wake up in the morning, go take my shower, prepare my lunch, grab my stuff and go work because I have a job to like a front to cover me from you know, my
while you're selling drugs on the side. Yeah.
And I was going on a chantier de construction, so a construction you know, place, and they have 700 people over there, and I was selling drugs over there too. Hey, why not? You know, 700, come on, make money home and over there, you know. So I was going to over there. I remember came to that job in the morning, and just before I go to the job, I always, you know, take like a joint and smoke and do some drugs before. And I realized that I have nothing with me. Realized then I didn't take drug this morning. And I realized that I don't have the taste in me, the desire to do it. So I just feel the joy of God come to me, the love of God. You know, I don't know, it was so amazing that morning. So my smile was like this, you know. And I remember some guys come to me and say, hey, Norm, do you have some drugs with you this morning? I said, no, I forgot everything at home. Well, man, you look so weird this morning. You have a nice smile. You took some very good drug this morning. I said, yes. You can't imagine what I took this morning. And it was a month after my conversion. Completely set free from drugs. And I never touched drugs again after.
Right.